Hey everyone, welcome back. We got to talk about our favorite AI, Claude.
Always something new with Claude, right?
Feels like every week is huge for AI, but Anthropic really went all out this time.
Yeah, they dropped some big upgrades to Claude, their AI model.
Huge upgrades, and we're going to break it all down right here, right now.
Sounds like a plan.
So, one of the biggest things, at least for me, is how much better Claude got at coding. Like, seriously.
Oh, absolutely. It's night and day.
They didn't just release one new version either, they released two.
Two!
Two. Claude 3.5 Sonnet and Claude 3.5 Haiku.
Wow, okay, so which one's the coding whiz?
You're gonna want to watch out for Sonnet. Have you seen what it can do?
I've had a sneak peek, and let me tell you, it is impressive.
I've heard whispers, rumors.
Anthropic really put Sonnet through the ringer with this one. They used a standardized coding test called the SWE Bench Verified Test.
Okay, and don't leave me hanging.
The results were remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, blew the competition out of the water.
No way. So what were we working with before? How much better did it get?
Well, before the update, Claude was sitting at a respectable 33.4% success rate. Not bad, right?
Yeah, holding its own.
But get this, Claude 3.5 Sonnet jumped all the way to a 49% success rate.
Whoa, hold on. That's huge. That's not just like a little boost. That's a whole other level.
It's a quantum leap.
Mm-hmm.
And to put that into perspective, it means Claude 3.5 Sonnet is now ahead of some of the most advanced AI coding models out there.
Even the ones that like live and breathe code.
Even those,
Yeah.
the ones specifically designed for coding. And Claude's beating them. It's a whole new ballgame.
Okay, so we're talking AI that can write code now, but does that mean they can actually make like complex programs?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is becoming increasingly clear.
So what does this mean for actual software development? Are we all out of a job?
Not quite yet. But seriously, it is something people are thinking about, and we're already starting to see real-world impacts.
Like?
Well, GitLab, for example. They're already incorporating Claude 3.5 Sonnet into their DevSecOps workflows.
Now, for those of us who don't speak fluent tech, what does that even mean?
Basically, it's a fancy way of saying they're using Claude to make their software development process more secure and efficient.
Okay, so walk me through this. How does that work? How is Claude being used in that process?
Well, GitLab found that Claude 3.5 Sonnet's reasoning abilities, when it came to these complex security tasks, were about 10% better than previous models.
10%? That's got to save a lot of headaches.
Absolutely. But here's the kicker. It achieved all this without sacrificing any speed.
Even better, time is money, as they say.
Exactly. It was able to analyze potential security risks and actually suggest solutions faster and with more accuracy than anything they had before.
So it's like having a super-powered security expert on your team, working 24/7. That's incredible. It's like AI is breaking out of the lab and into the real world,
Exactly. It's not just theory anymore. It's about understanding, contributing, making a real difference.
And this actually leads us to another cool thing about the new Claude model, specifically Claude 3.5 Haiku.
Ah, yes. Haiku. So we've got Sonnet, the coding superstar.
Right, Sonnet's got the coding game on lock. What's Haiku's specialty?
Speed, pure efficiency. If Sonnet is the master architect designing these elaborate programs,
Okay, I like that analogy.
Haiku is like, I don't know, the skilled contractor.
Bringing those blueprints to life.
Exactly. Tackling the essential tasks, the repetitive stuff, but doing it with incredible speed.
So it's like having different versions of Claude for different jobs?
Precisely. And here's the thing. Haiku isn't just smaller, faster, cheaper. It actually outperforms Claude 3 Opus, the biggest Claude model, on some tasks.
Whoa, wait, really? Outperforms the big guy. How is that even possible?
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
It all comes down to how it's optimized.
So where does Haiku really shine? What kind of tasks are we talking about?
Anything that requires processing massive amounts of data, but doing it quickly. Analyzing customer reviews to figure out what people really think. Digging into financial data to spot those anomalies, even powering those chatbots we were talking about before. Speed and accuracy are key here, and that's where Haiku excels.
Mind-blowing. This tech is evolving so fast. But all this talk about code, it reminds me, probably the biggest news here is Anthropic actually teaching Claude to use computers. Like, actually use them, like we do.
Now, that is a game changer.
This is next level stuff, right? It's not just writing the code, it's understanding how to use it, interact with the digital world.
It's a whole new paradigm.
Yeah.
And they've done it with an API.
Okay, for those of us who didn't grow up in Silicon Valley, what's an API?
Think of it like a translator, right? It bridges the gap between Claude's AI brain and the way we interact with computers.
So, like, instead of me telling my computer to open a file, I tell Claude, and it does it.
Exactly. Developers can give Claude instructions, and the API translates those into computer commands.
Whoa, no way.
It's wild. So instead of just giving you info, Claude could, I don't know, manage your email, book appointments, maybe even order your groceries online.
So like my own personal AI assistant.
Potentially, yeah. And this is just scratching the surface. Imagine you need data from a bunch of different places, a spreadsheet on your computer, some info from a website. Instead of you pulling it all together manually, Claude could do it.
Oh man, that would be amazing. I can think of a million uses for that. But seriously, how good is Claude at actually using computers right now? Like that's got to be complicated, even for AI.
It's early days, right? But they've been putting it through its paces, using a platform called Osworld. It's specifically designed to test how well AI systems can actually use computers, like in the real world.
Okay, and how's Claude doing? Acing the tests.
Well, acing might be pushing it,
Mhm.
but it is doing really well. It's already outperforming other AI systems on these tests, which is huge.
So it's learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's showing that it's starting to understand how to interact with different software, how to get things done. There are bumps in the road, for sure, but the progress is undeniable. It's pretty exciting.
It's kind of like we're watching, I don't know, a whole new chapter being written right in front of us. AI using a computer like a person. I mean, it feels like just yesterday that was just a crazy idea, pure science fiction.
Right. And now here we are.
It's mind-blowing and maybe a little bit scary too, right?
It definitely raises some big questions, like what does this mean for, I don't know, for the future of jobs?
Right, the future of work.
How will AI change our lives?
Right.
And ethically, can we handle this kind of power? It's a lot. But I will say, it seems like Anthropic gets it.
Yeah, it's one thing to build this technology, but using it responsibly, that's a whole other ball game.
Totally. And to their credit, Anthropic seems to be approaching this carefully, cautiously.
Okay, so they're not just like setting this loose on the world without any rules, right?
Exactly. And they're being super transparent about the risks. In fact, they're already working on like safeguards to address those risks.
What kind of safeguards are we talking about? What are they doing?
Well, a big one is they're building systems to actually detect when and how Claude's using this computer access.
So they can see what it's doing.
Exactly. Monitor its activity, try to understand its decision-making process, and potentially, step in if something seems off.
That makes sense. It's like you got to learn to walk before you can run, right?
Absolutely.
We need to understand this technology before we just unleash it on the world.
I couldn't agree more.
So big picture, where do we go from here? What's next for Claude? What are you most curious about?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question. I mean, think about it. AI that can process information, write code, and now interact with the digital world like it's nothing.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
It is kind of exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
It really is. But if we can keep our heads on straight, approach it with curiosity but also caution, I think the future of AI, the future with Claude, could be really, really amazing.
I like the way you think. Well, listeners, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Claude and everything Anthropic is doing. It's a wild ride for sure. And we'll be here to break it all down for you as always. Until next time, keep those minds curious. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.